I have been thumping on this blade. I cannot wait to share with you my thoughts, some limitations, some excellent feature characteristics as well, and highlight how it performs. And it's sporting one of my favorite high performance tool steels, Crewwear, with a phenomenal HRC and mind-boggling customizable leather sheath. We're going to be doing a deep dive today into the American-made zero tolerance 0004. So let's find out, where does this blade fit in and whether or not it might be right up your alley. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Aaron. This is Gideonstactical. Let's dive in. First and foremost is the swedging on the top spine. Often it looks great, but then you sacrifice performance. You can't really put your thumb on the back spine because it's so narrow, it's uncomfortable, and you can't do woodworking notching with that type of blade. Well, they've thought through that. On the back spine, on that probably 1.5 inches right there, it is a broad portion, so you can easily put your thumb and rest it right there for a notch if you're using the back edge, or if you're just resting it when you are engaging and doing a push cut. But then it narrows, giving it that aesthetic, cool look, but then it flares out again right where you would rest your thumb to use the belly to make a notch, giving you a broad portion and shelf to rest your thumb and put that pressure without it being uncomfortable. So it looks good, but you don't sacrifice your leverage points to use it to make notches. Second to that is this spine notch right back here. Makes it very easy to rest your thumb, for a push cut, kind of canoes and gives you a little resting place, but it's 90 back here, so it's able to perfectly rest on your fire steel, and this thing is a flamethrower. Launches sparks, so very easy to get a fire going with your favorite fire steel with this notch portion right there. And there are a few other places on the spine that are also 90 that you could throw sparks or scrape if you needed to. And then, like water off a duck's back, that spine transitions right into a piercing tip. Great for aggressive stabbing. There's durability behind that, so you can pierce really well, and you're not sacrificing belly. Often piercing blades don't have a lot of belly. This has a good amount of belly for some good sweeping cuts, regardless if it's for wood and you're just removing material, or you're doing food prep or general EDC work like going through a cardboard box, or you're push cutting through a sprinkler hose. Whatever material you're going through, that belly gives enough sweep without sacrificing piercing for a lot of different capability. And then it's brought into completion with a very high saber grind. That's my favorite type of grind on knives of this size range, and they have put it on a stock thickness of 0.156, 5/32 of an inch thick. So there's durability there, but it's not overly thick, but it's not paper thin either. So you can really work with the tool and have a good balance. This is a balanced tool, giving you durability, but not sacrificing your slicing capability. And this all coming in on a 4.1 inch blade overall with a 3.75, maybe 3.8 cutting edge. And yes, we will talk both the good and the bad about that Choil a little bit later when we talk ergonomics. But what about that Crewwear steel? Well, they're doing a Rockwell of 63 to 64 on the Rockwell scale. Phenomenal. Very, very hard and right where you want Crewwear. Now, if you're not familiar with Crewwear, it's really like an amazing blend of the best that you get in a stainless and the best that you get in a carbon steel. And it's kind of a blending of those because it is tool steel. I love it. It's one of my favorite steels to use because I get really good wear resistance, I get good toughness, and it's actually pretty easy to resharpen in the field. Now we have a USA-made blade that is riding nice and cozy in a USA-made leather sheath. And it feels harder and harder to find things that are produced here in the USA. And that's where today's sponsor comes in, which is Huckberry, and especially their Flint and Tinder line of apparel. And with so much cold weather hitting North America recently, I am super glad I have, for the past 2 years, had my 10-year hoodies. These things are sourced and built here in the USA. You can get pullover, like what I have today, or zip up, depending on your preference, and they have a great weight that can really fight off those frigid temperatures. The hoods are nice and large, protecting against wind, things like that, and you can really use them in harsher environments. That, along with my wax trucker jacket, I happen to have the flannel line version, but they have unlined for warmer climates. They have wool line for extra cold climates, and several other options, and a couple of different color combinations. That really has helped me when I'm getting blasted by a polar vortex And because of the wax, it's water resistant, wind proof, and a lot more durable with that canvas than, say, those like insulated puffy jackets that you brush up against a wall and it rips open and downpours everywhere. This is great for harsher environments and hard use. So I'm gonna have a link popping up here as well as in the description box below, along with my exclusive 10% off promo code you can apply towards your very first purchase over there, so you can start exploring and really dialing your apparel for any adventure, regardless of the season, regardless of the time, along with plenty of other gear and equipment that Huckberry carries, so that you can really enjoy your upcoming adventures. So I don't know if I've seen a production leather sheath with this many bells and whistles in my entire life. Now we have a pancake design here, so it's got a pretty broad profile, but it's gonna have a decent ride there. You have this strap right here that keeps the blade into place, not gonna come out. But the tension is enough that it easily sits in there, grabs. You can always wet form a leather sheath. That's great. Here's where it starts to get bananas. It's ambidextrous because the strap here can swivel, okay, and you can just unscrew it because they've given you 4 screws right there. You can completely remove this leather backer here, giving you access to not only the strap that can be rotated to right or left, and the button attachment right or left. You could completely remove the button attachment if it's just something you're not really, care for. Completely take it off. What I have found is when I'm hiking or wearing it, and I want it really snug, use the strap. Then when I get to camp, rotate it over, snap it on, and kick it down. And now I can just use the friction of the sheath itself, back and forth. And then when it's time to hike out, rotate, flip, and now I have better tension on it. Genius. Genius. I don't even have to remove that if I don't want to. If you want to, you can. Or wait for it. Unscrew the leather backer. You can leave or not the leather strap, tension strap, and then you can put Bladehq locks, Molly locks, Ulti clips, whatever you want. You can put it scout carry. You can do anything. Even this one will rotate, and you could scout carry it with the leather loop and still have the tension strap or not. The options are endless. And if you're going to get this custom made for yourself by a manufacturer, like a leather maker, you'd be paying $100 to $150 easy all day to get something to operate and function like this. Now, how about these Ergos and this Choil? Now, when it comes to the handle scales themselves, really clothy. It's so nice to see more and more companies doing this recently, that they're not doing high polish micarta. This gives you texture, tactile feel. It feels more earthy, and just ready to be used. And then you are going to get 2 Allen head, which is really nice. I prefer Allen over Torx, particularly on fixed blades to work with. So this is a 5/64 Allen head that you can take the scales off, do maintenance if you need to, and you can run your lanyard through the back end there. Excellent. Now the handle from guard, because this is what matters, from the end of the guard to the end of the handle right there is 4 inches. Really gets you into place. Plenty of real estate on the back end. 0.73 maximum thickness, and it tapers ever so slightly, and around the bolts is about 0.63. So good girth right there, good height. Just gives you everything you need. Very light hit of jimping, not sharp at all. That will give you something to grab onto, meaning that you have full real estate on the handle, and you don't even have to engage with the choil. Some knives basically force you, we just saw that on a Civivi, to use the choil, or you can't even engage with the blade. Now to that choil and my thoughts on that. Now, I've always stated here, as a personal preference, I don't feel that knives that are 5 inches overall blade length or less require a choil. To me, it's not necessary, and it eats up valuable blade length to give you that choil. So leave a comment below. Do you prefer choils? Do you not? And particularly on this size of a tool, like, compact blades, do you like choils or not? Now, part of that is because a choil, in theory, is supposed to give you a forward balance point on a large tool, like a long blade that's front heavy for chopping. The choil allows you to choke up and better center your point of balance. The balance point on this is like right behind that bolt, basically, on this particular blade. There you go, right there. So that's not what's required, but I mean, when you engage with it, you can really choke up and really manipulate the blade, like feels like a 2-inch knife, giving you insane precision. So I mean, there are positives to it. As again, don't feel like it's necessary. When you actually look at where the grinding stops, it's actually like 5/8. So basically half an inch is where you're actually, you know, like eating up. We're losing half an inch, basically, is what I'm saying, of cutting edge. So it's not insane. And the one really good kind of saving grace with this choil is it's not super deep, meaning that if you were to do, you know, cutting and you were cutting rope or a net, it's so shallow it can hop that edge and then engage with the edge and cut, and it won't snag. A lot of choils are pretty deep, and you know, get caught up on cordage and netting. This is not the case. It will just hop that, and you can cut right there. And it definitely is big enough for my large size hands, you know, and I'm not engaging with the edge or not. So if I was designing it, I would have had a choil. Other than that, everything else about the blade is just like cherry. So let's talk pricing, competitive options, and as always, zero tolerance. Did not pay me, did not sponsor this video in any way, shape, or form. I didn't even know this knife was coming. Just showed up one day and I was like, whoa, okay. Giving me the ability to show you guys what's good, what's not. And yes, the sister blade, the 0512, the automatic, both in crew wear, both from the same designer. You can just see there. So if you are interested in a pocket knife instead, this, I mean, you're getting very similar. Handle, my card is slightly different, but very similar kind of ideas there. In those blades, so that's just an option. And so for the cost of the fixed blade, you're looking at about $280, which sits really comfortably in the pack of other American-made crew-wear blades. Say if you look at a Bark River of similar size, you're going to be like $250 to $350, depending on variant. They usually do a lower HRC on their crew-wear. And then if you look at knives like, say, from Tour, you're looking at about $350 for an American-made crew-wear blade from them. So this sits nicely kind of right there in the middle, right where it should be for the cost of that type of steel and just all that goes into this particular blade. And then if you're looking at the automatic, that's usually about $320, depending on where you pick it up. Automatics are just always more expensive because of the mechanisms and the very limited market that an automatic can actually be purchased and carried and used in. And since the fit and finish and, you know, quality is definitely there, it's really just going to come down to design and whether or not that makes sense, and, you know, check some boxes for you. And I will have links popping up as well as in the description box below over to the affiliate networks I partner with. Helps fuel the channel, helps me make the content that you see here week in, week out. When a design makes sense, you know, pull the trigger. That's always much appreciated. The A&V knives, Acton on Verba out of the Czech Republic, P200. This is a full flat grind, 4-inch blade though. You can just see there, no choil. So again, kind of more my preference. If you were to ask me between the two, it doesn't mean that this doesn't perform, and I still see a lot of value in use, but there's an example. Really cool styling, ultra light, got a polymer handle scale. Sleipner, I think I said steel, which is kind of like a budget version, actually, when I think about it, of crew wear. Crew wear is definitely better in every way, better wear resistance, better toughness, better, you know, all that. But Sleipner is kind of like the budget-friendly version of Sleipner because it's also, or excuse me, of crew wear because it is a tool steel and kind of in the D2 family a little bit. Kydex sheath, about 120, maybe 130, I think, last I checked. Lots of color combinations. I threw a little ulti clip on there. It comes with some molly locks and stuff because I could pocket carry that guy. There it is, guys. The 0004, an awesome option for those of you who love your SE3s, SE4s, similar types of knives, but you're just tired and you just want like to level up your game. I think that this is an awesome option and should be definitely on the short list. Leave a comment below, especially if you own one already. How's it been performing for you? Appreciate you guys. Check out the other videos. Subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.